Hi guys, welcome to this tutorial on how to create a basic menu, and I do stress that this is a basic menu. I've made a quick project file, dead simple, took me about 10 minutes to do. This menu will enable you to play, in other words to go to the next menu, to the next level, or to exit, which will quit the game. In what we're doing now, it will exit to Blender, but when you export your final game, it will actually exit the whole thing. Quit and shut the whole thing down. What I want you guys to be doing in terms of more advanced menus is having options to save and load games, to let people go in and have a look at the different controls and adjust settings and things like that. That's something that I'm going to teach you how to do in the more advanced menu tutorials. So what have I created? Well, let's press P. Dead simple area. So I've created a sky dome. I've reversed the material so you can see it on the inside. I've used a sphere and I've flattened it out for an island. For the actual floor, I've subdivided it and then I've just used sculpt mode. So if we go into sculpt mode, I've just sort of lifted it up to turn it into a C, and I've just made it always rotate, which is why you've got it sort of spinning round. I've made a palm tree out of some cylinders, and then these are just flattened spheres that I've sort of joined together and then just animated them so that they always, over 80 frames, they just move. So if I play that again, it just spins round like so. On the outside it looks something a little bit like that. It's just a ground that's sort of revolving. Dead easy. Okay, what else have we got then? So we've got two pieces of text, play and exit. They don't really do anything special, and you're probably wondering what these two sort of like pieces of concrete are doing here. Well, I'm going to go through that now. So what we want to be able to do as a player is to click on play and it will go to the next level, or click on exit and it will exit the game. Well, let's do that first in terms of exit. The problem is, if we go to click on exit, what happens if we click in between the letters? It's going to cause a problem. You'd have to click exactly on the lettering of the text for it to do something, which is not particularly great for us. Now, usually when you play the game, we've got a problem because our mouse cursor has disappeared. So when you're creating your menu, what you need to do is you need to click on the render button just here and come down to the bottom and turn on the mouse cursor. And when we play again, we've now got the mouse. So that enables it to be within the game. But we've still got a problem, because if we click in between this, then it's not going to work. So what we're going to do then is we're going to use this word exit, but we're actually going to put all the programming on a cube that sits over the top of it, like so. And I'm going to call this cube exit. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to add a mouse sensor, something you might not have used before, but it's fairly self-explanatory. And I'm going to call it left click. And it's already set to left button. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to add, usually we use a scene actuator to move between levels. However, when we want to quit the game or load a game or save a game, we actually use a game actuator. And you can see that we've got restart and all that sort of stuff here. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to quit the game. Easy as that. That's all it does. So I'm going to leave it as quit or exit and join them together. So if I press P and I click this, it exits the game. The problem is, if I press P and I click anywhere else, it also exits the game, because what we've actually said is we don't necessarily want to click this. It's just when the left mouse button is clicked. So if I clicked on this one, it would still exit the game. So we need to use this AND logic gate to restrict it just to this item. So we add a mouse sensor again. And instead of left button, we use mouse over, and I'm going to call it over. What a mouse over does is you have to actually be over the top of it for it to work. And because we're leaving this logic gate as and, I have to left click and I have to be over the top of it. Let's see if that works. So I'm clicking away, doesn't do anything. Click on there and it quits the game. Exactly what we want it to do. And then all we need to do for this cube is go over to the physics section, turn it invisible. And when we play the game, now if we click anywhere near the word exit, it's going to quit our game, which is exactly what we want. Going on to play, it's not really different at all. So I'm going to add 2 mouse sensors. I'm going to have one called left click, and it's already set to left button. And I'm going to have another mouse sensor for over, and I'm going to set that to, where is it, mouse over. What we're going to do then is, because we're not changing the game, we're changing scene or changing level because we want to go to our first level, we're going to use a scene actuator. So let's find where it is, scene actuator, and we're going to call it level 1. And instead of restart, we're going to set it to set scene, and we can select our scene. Now at the moment we've only got one scene, we've got the menu, so if we clicked it, it'd take us back to where we are. So we're going to leave that blank for a second, join that up and join that up. And what we're going to do, we're going to come to the top of our screen here. You can see that I've already labeled my menu, and I'm going to click the plus arrow and I'm going to create a new scene. So if I created a full copy, it would copy everything. I don't want that, I just want a new scene. And inside my new scene, I'm going to have a camera. I don't want you guys to do this. This is just so that you can see that it is a new scene. And for now, I'm going to put a monkey. And the reason why it's gone that colour is because we haven't got any lamps. So let's add a basic lamp to the scene as well. And if I go into the camera, so you can either press 0 on the numpad or come down here and click camera, we can see Susan the monkey. And that is actually the monkey's name in Blender. What we're going to do at the top is I'm going to call it level 1. So what you can see now on this left drop down, I have level 1 and I have the menu. Let's go back to the menu, and this time we'll set the scene then, and we can set it to level 1. So let's see if that works. Let's come out of the camera, and if I press P for play, in fact, let's make this object invisible first of all. If I press P for play, if I click exit, it exits, and if I click play, it goes to my next level, which is level 1. Now if I'd have been inside my camera, and let's do that now, let's go inside the camera, it will stay inside the camera on the next level. So you can see we're inside the camera now, which is ace, because obviously you would have programmed the camera to follow your character in your next level. That's pretty much it, apart from putting some music over the top of it, which I will teach you how to do in the music session that I'm going to do, one of the music tutorials. The only other thing that you might want to do is just bring it to life a little bit in terms of the camera movement, because that's all nice and everything's moving around, but the camera's really static. Now in films, cameras move all over the place, and there's no reason why our camera can't move all over the place too. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come out of the camera, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to click it. Just so that it's selected, I'm going to go back into the camera, and now I'm going to animate it. So I'm going to come down to the bottom, I'm going to go on the timeline, lock rot scale in this big grey section. I'm going to set a keyframe, and I'm going to go all the way to 200 frames, and I'm going to set another keyframe. And what that means is the camera will come back here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to about frame 100. And I'm going to move the camera by using these tools, and I'm going to change the location of it, and I'm going to put the camera over here, and I'm going to press R to rotate to there and there, and set a keyframe. So the camera sort of does this now, goes in and out. Now what we can do is we can just sort of lift it up, and R to pull it down a bit, set another keyframe, just keep it moving a little bit. For this one we'll probably move it down a little bit, and R and keyframe. So let's have a look at that now. So the camera sort of moves around a little bit in a nice motion. So all we need to do now is we need to go back to our logic editor. I'm going to say for the camera always action, and we're going to loop the end, camera action, and it was over 200 frames. Play the animation, and now our camera is actually going to move around on a constant cycle too. If I click exit, it will exit as normal. If I click play, it's going to take me to my next level. Awesomeness rating 5,876.